Hello friends, welcome to the Manhwa Storyline channel. So today, we are going to explain a new manhwa because I recently read it, and it's absolutely amazing. You guys just have to survive the first 3 chapters. If you can make it through those 3 chapters, when the apocalypse comes, you'll get to see RMC. And trust me, you see how ruthless RMC is. I mean, he literally kicked a kid. And don't worry, I will complete this manhwa. But first, let me get a little more familiar with it. Our story begins in Brighton City, which is in chaos after a volcanic eruption and an earthquake. The government is urging people to evacuate calmly, but many are frustrated and confused. Just a few days earlier, an underwater quake and the eruption of Mount Fuji had already caused tens of thousands of deaths. Now, they must evacuate again. One woman is particularly anxious because she left in such a rush that she didn't bring any supplies. She plans to get what she needs in Somerville. However, a man nearby tells her that all the goods in the Walmart and Ali warehouses there have already been moved. Another man chimes in, mentioning that this news is old. Silverwood Lake in Riverside has dried up, and the Somerville storage is empty too. Realizing that the value of these supplies is likely in the hundreds of billions, the woman is shocked. Then a man speaks up, claiming the total value is actually in the tens of trillions. He is our protagonist, warning them that the supply losses from natural disasters are just the beginning and that the world is heading toward destruction. When the woman asks if he's serious, another man laughs and says he's actually looking forward to the end of the world, claiming all beings are equal. The protagonist disagrees, recalling his past life where he witnessed that even at the end, there was no true equality. In his previous life, he was an ordinary delivery man. An apocalypse struck due to a sudden release of solar energy, causing temperature rises and massive earthquakes. Monsters emerged from underground, leading to a new world order characterized by extreme scarcity. In that time, even basic items like instant noodles or ham became luxuries. Our protagonist has been reborn a month before the apocalypse. A beautiful woman approaches him, expressing fear and asking for comfort, but he brushes her off, knowing that in an apocalypse, supplies are more important. In his last life, he wasted time searching for supplies, but now he is determined to be prepared. His boss was furious about him being 21 seconds late to work and docked his pay. When he went into the warehouse, he didn't care. In his previous life, his boss had fled during the apocalypse, leaving his salary worthless. So, he decided to take supplies for himself. He opened his dimensional inventory to store everything. Suddenly, a system notification popped up, recognizing items like rice and cooking oil and automatically storing them. This was his spatial ability, allowing him to create a massive cubic space to store everything he wanted. With this power, he dried up 2 freshwater lakes and plundered cities destined to be destroyed in the apocalypse. In this dimension, time is frozen, so food remains fresh indefinitely. Overwhelmed with emotion, he realized he wouldn't have to suffer during the apocalypse as he did before. After calming down, he checked his inventory and felt relieved after gathering so many resources. However, his relief was short-lived when others arrived at the warehouse and found it empty. They questioned about the missing supplies, but he simply said he took everything. The manager was baffled and ordered his team to capture him, but quickly opened his dimensional door and stepped inside, teasing his manager that he wouldn't be late again. Everyone was shocked and confused about his sudden disappearance. Outside, he used his second ability, Space Jump, which allowed him to teleport within a 3-meter radius. This ability would be invaluable in the apocalypse, enabling him to gather supplies from abandoned buildings and escape from dangers like mutant beasts. After completing his mission, he received a notification on his phone about intense geological movements and localized disasters, advising people not to panic. He knew this was just a way to calm the public, but he was aware that disaster was imminent. Then, his phone rang again, this time showing his ex-girlfriend Jenna, who betrayed him in his previous life. Despite his anger at her call, he answered. She accused him of disappearing and selling their house without her knowledge, questioning how he could expect a woman to stay with him after that. Although she claimed to be indifferent to the house, she insisted that giving it to her was the only way to feel secure. Unmoved, asked if she had anything else to say, which made her furious. She snapped at him, demanding a better attitude and threatening him with another chance. Come back now and transfer ownership to me, or forget about marrying me, Mia demanded. But Sam was unfazed. He told her he was heading back to Edenvale and that they could talk when he returned. He felt anger boiling inside him. In his past life, they had survived together through 5 years of apocalypse, where he tirelessly searched for supplies to keep her safe, even bringing her to a secure zone. If it weren't for him, she would have starved. Yet, she betrayed him and even killed him, blaming his incompetence for his death. He felt deeply wronged for having trusted someone like her. This time, both Henry and Mia would face consequences. He was determined not to kill them quickly. He wanted them to suffer as he had. But he knew he needed to focus on the future. He couldn't steal everything. He needed money to buy what was left. So, he called manager Lou and agreed to sell his house for half price. But he demanded cash immediately. Later, outside Dream Real Estate, Mia and Henry were waiting for him. When Sam stepped out of the taxi, Jong mentioned she had been waiting a long time. He dismissed her, telling her to step aside. Henry, interrupting, threatened him. "Who allowed you to sell the house? Dare to sell my house, and I'll make sure you won't see the sun tomorrow." Sam didn't flinch. He grabbed Henry by the neck, lifted him off the ground, and slammed him to the floor, warning that he could handle his own affairs however he wanted. Mia shouted for him to stop and pleaded for her brother's release. Sam slapped her, leaving her in shock as she couldn't believe he would do such a thing. Meanwhile, Henry begged for forgiveness, asking to be let go. Sam smiled at his desperation, saying, "Don't worry, you won't die quickly," before releasing him and heading into the building. Mia checked on Henry, demanding Sam kneel and apologize. She warned that if he didn't, he could forget about marrying her. When Sam turned back to them, they ran away, threatening revenge. But to Sam, they were insignificant. Inside the Dream Real Estate building, the manager informed him he would buy the house for cash. This was a great deal for the manager since he could profit from the house valued over $1 million, buying it for just $700,000. Sam agreed but insisted on full payment that day. The manager complied and suggested they sign the contract immediately, with the transfer of ownership set for the following Monday. Sam accepted, knowing that in the apocalypse, he could choose any house he wanted, as long as he was willing to take it. After receiving his cash, he left the real estate office. Although disasters were happening elsewhere, life in Edenvale remained orderly, protected from earthquakes and tsunamis. Then he spotted an advertisement for a high-interest loan. He called to see if he could mortgage his property. They told him to come to Ha International. Later, at Great Sea Loans Limited, Sam sought a quick loan, but the value of his house was less than expected. He asked how much he could borrow, only to find out that the representative was Henry's older brother, Wang Dihai, who had died at the hands of mutant beasts in his past life. Wang Dihai offered to buy the house for $500,000, requiring the property certificate first. Sam refused, demanding an extra $100,000 and insisting on receiving it immediately. He assured Wang Dihai that he wouldn't have to worry. He would profit from this deal and repay him quickly. Wang Dihai wondered if Sam was a gambler but didn't care. He was ready to do anything for profit, even if it meant selling out his own family. He thought about whether Sam was naive enough to believe he could turn things around overnight. Wang Dihai replied that as long as Sam mortgaged the property certificate, everything else was negotiable. He then transferred 600,000 yuan into Sam's account. Outside the building, Mia defended her actions, claiming she was simply reclaiming her house and was furious that Sam had attacked her. She insisted he would have to pay for it. Henry, eager for revenge, mentioned that he could have his older brother take care of Sam. Suddenly spotting Sam, John pointed him out to Henry. He confirmed it was indeed him, and wondered what Sam was doing there. John suggested they follow him to see what he had been up to. After some time, Sam arrived at the Emerald City Hotel. In his memory, many buildings had collapsed due to seawater backflow and freezing temperatures, but the hotel had remained standing. He heard that the presidential suite was well equipped and thought it might make a good base for him, especially since many warehouses were empty, but hot meals and ingredients were still available. Just then, a beautiful woman approached him. She introduced herself as Ryan Lewis, the hotel restaurant manager, and asked how she could assist him. Sam said he wanted to order a banquet for 1,000 tables and inquired if they could accommodate it. Manager Lou was taken aback by the large order but managed to keep her composure and confirmed they could. She explained the pricing options: 5,000 per table, 10,000 per table, and even options ranging from 30,000 to 100,000. Intrigued by Sam's grand demeanor, she began to wonder if he was secretly wealthy. Sam decided on the 10,000 per table option, totaling 10 million. He offered a 50,000 deposit and requested delivery to the address he provided, with the balance due in a week. However, He questioned whether the Emerald City Hotel could meet such high standards. Manager Lu grew nervous at the mention of the 50,000 deposit, since the ingredient cost was already estimated at that amount. But she recognized the value of connecting with wealthy clients. She knew the key to business was adaptability, so she agreed and asked Sam to make the payment right away. Afterward, Manager Lu asked how she should address him. Sam replied she could just call him by his name. Curious, she asked if the banquet was for a wedding. Sam confirmed it was indeed for his wedding and asked her to reserve a presidential suite as well. Feeling pleased with the arrangements, he left the hotel, having secured a 10 million yuan banquet with just a 50,000 deposit. In a post-apocalyptic world, such a deal was remarkable, especially since a block of ice could be worth billions. Inside the hotel, Manager Lu wondered if it was a honeymoon booking and thought how lucky Sam as future spouse would be. Mia and Henry, eavesdropping from behind the door, approached Manager Lu to ask about the man who had just left. When Manager Lu asked who they were, Zhang introduced herself as Sam's girlfriend. Manager Lu revealed that her boyfriend had ordered a banquet for 1,000 tables and paid a 50,000 deposit, remarking on Zhang's good fortune in having such a boyfriend. Surprised, Manager Lu thought about how Zhang, while not exceptionally attractive, had a strong presence that often attracted wealthy individuals. Hearing this, Zhang and Henry were stunned, questioning whether Sam could truly afford a 10 million yuan banquet. Manager Lu explained that wealthy people often concealed their wealth to avoid attracting gold diggers and typically revealed their status only on their wedding day. Mia then asked if the groom might suddenly become distant before the wedding. Henry was astonished, pondering if Sam was genuinely wealthy. Manager Lu confirmed this, recalling the 50,000 transaction. Later, outside the hotel, Henry asked Zhang about the guest list for the banquet. Zhang laughed, saying, "Don't you get it? He wants to introduce me to their wealthy circle and then reveal his true identity." Henry leaned closer to Mia, asking what their next move should be. She explained that they needed to take the initiative and create opportunities for this. Bootlicker. Excitedly, she thought about how she never imagined finding herself in such a scenario, especially with someone like Sam. Meanwhile, Sam was at home contemplating his finances. He had sold his house for 700,000 yuan, taken out a high-interest loan of 600,000, and spent 500,000 on a banquet. However, during his shopping spree, he realized he hadn't acquired many essential items. Although he had paid the deposit, the remaining 800,000 yuan wasn't much for what he needed. Suddenly, an idea struck him. If he didn't take out an online loan, it would be a wasted opportunity. So, he downloaded over 80 loan apps at once, took 30 selfies, and managed to secure loans totaling 970,000 yuan. Exhausted but with no time to waste, he began searching for fireplaces, ice makers, ice blocks, and smokeless coal, which he couldn't find in supermarkets but could purchase online for quick delivery. After facing extreme heat and severe cold in the past, he knew that having enough resources was crucial for survival. Sam called a coal company to inquire about the current rate for smokeless coal. They informed him it was 2,500 yuan per ton. He stated that he needed 2,000 tons and found the price acceptable. He offered a deposit of 500,000 yuan upfront, promising to pay the rest upon delivery. Next, he called an ice factory to order ice blocks, but they insisted on discussing the details in person. Sam agreed to meet with them. On his way to the ice factory, he unexpectedly ran into Nina and Mia. Nina asked where he had been, mentioning that Xiaoqian had been missing him. Remembering that Nina was the one who frequently criticized his close friend, Sam asked her why she missed him. Was it because of his house? Nina became flustered, explaining that Xiaoqian was just testing him and that she had genuinely been sad and missing him. Xiaoqian then grabbed Sam's hand, asking if she could join him for a walk as she wasn't feeling well. She pleaded for forgiveness for her earlier scolding, saying she hoped he wasn't mad. However, Sam didn't care and pulled his hand away, stating he had things to do and she could stroll on her own. Surprised by his attitude, Xiaoqian wondered why he was acting so arrogantly. She then saw him hail a taxi and thought she should hurry to follow him, believing this was her final test. Moments later, Sam arrived at the Ronghua Ice Factory, where he met Mr. Wood, the manager. Mr. Wood was taken aback to see such a young man. Sam mentioned that they had discussed the details over the phone but wanted to know how long it would take to produce 2,000 tons of edible ice. Mr. Wood assured him that while they might not boast about much, They excelled in efficiency and could complete the order in 3 days for 400 yuan per ton, totaling 800,000 yuan. Sam agreed and said he would transfer 100,000 yuan as a deposit, instructing them to deliver the ice to the address he provided in 3 days. Mr. Wood confirmed they would ensure a safe delivery. Curious, he asked Sam why he needed so much ice, suggesting that they might collaborate again in the future, with negotiable prices. Sam replied that he intended to donate the ice to Alishan for charity. Mr. Wood was puzzled but pleased to have settled an 800,000 yuan deal. Suddenly, another car pulled up in front of the factory. It was Nina and Sam. Sam inquired whether Sam was Nina's fiancé and what they were discussing. Mr. Wood, confused about why they were there, explained that Sam had just ordered ice worth 800,000 yuan. Both women were shocked, realizing that Sam was a rich second generation, super wealthy. Nina asked Mr. Wood if Sam had mentioned what he planned to do with so much ice. He replied that Sam said he was donating it to Alishan for charity. This revelation left Nina and Sam bewildered, wondering what it all meant. Meanwhile, after purchasing all the necessary items, Sam wanted to enjoy a good meal before the apocalypse. In his previous life, he had been too busy working to dine out, and even a visit to a small cafe felt like a luxury. He opened the menu and began to read. Sam scanned the menu, noting the luxurious offerings: butter chicken, nyan, smoked steak, and nature's juice. It was a high-end restaurant with an average spending exceeding 4 digits. Suddenly, he noticed something unusual. A dish symbolized by a question mark priced at 17,000 yuan. Curious, he asked the waiter about it. The waiter explained that this was a dish personally crafted by the head chef of their Yalan music restaurant. Intrigued, Sam requested the dish, eager to discover its uniqueness. In his previous life, during the onset of the apocalypse, a strange force caused many creatures to mutate. The monstrous serpent described in the Shanhai Jing resembled the mutated serpents he encountered before. He preferred to call this phenomenon atavism, where ancestral traits reappear after being lost through evolutionary changes. Suddenly, a stunning woman appeared before him. She was Duanya, the head chef known as the Hell Chef. This dish was tailored specifically for Sam based on his temperament. Recognizing her from his previous life, where she possessed magical culinary skills that could transform decay into food, he felt a mix of surprise and admiration. Duanya noticed his expression and teased. "What's with that look? Afraid a beauty like me might poison your food?" She explained that the dish, called Dual-Faced Life, featured one side of tuna fried in brown butter, and the other deep fried in puff pastry, offering 2 different flavors that left a lasting impression. After tasting the dish, Sam was thoroughly impressed. The flavor was exceptional, and the 17,000 yuan felt justified. However, he pondered if only she could cook for him during the apocalypse, then dismissed the thought, wondering if she might poison him. Meanwhile, Olivia and Nina were secretly observing Sam. Nina remarked to Olivia, "I heard each dish here costs over 10,000. Your husband must be a second-generation rich kid. Once you're a rich wife, don't forget your sisters. I'm practically being eaten alive by mosquitoes." Olivia replied confidently, "Don't worry. I'll definitely become a rich wife and treat him well." After finishing his dinner, Sam headed to the Golden Sales Vault of Edenvale. He recalled how some rich kid had spent 2 million here without even knowing what abalone looked like. In the apocalypse, such places of extravagance would vanish, and he regretted not visiting them in his previous life. Suddenly, a girl approached him, asking why he wasn't drinking and if something was wrong. Sam assured her there was no issue and began to drink. He noticed the girl next to him look sad and inquired about her troubles. The girl introduced herself as Lily Brooks and explained that it was her first time at such a place. Her boyfriend had cheated on her, prompting her friends to take her out for some fun. She lamented that her boyfriend cheated on her with an older woman and commented on his poor taste. Then she asked Sam if all men were only concerned with sleeping with women. Sam replied, "A real man's nature is driven by reproductive desires." After hearing this, Lily Brooks downed her drink in one gulp and leaned closer, flirting. "Are you single?" she asked, with her friends cheering her on, saying, "That's the way to go, Lily Brooks. That scumbag isn't worthy of you. Be brave and go for it." Meanwhile, Nina and Olivia followed Sam deeper into the club, shocked to see him with another girl, wondering if he was cheating. Sam suggested to Lily Brooks, "Let's go outside," holding her hand and leading her upstairs. Olivia called out to him to stop, but it was too late. Sam had already taken Lily Brooks into a room and locked the door. Inside, he apologized for the interruption. Lily Brooks, not really paying attention, said it was her first time. Trying to be responsible, Sam tapped her forehead gently and asked if she was drunk. He advised her to avoid going out for a while, to stock up on food at home, and mentioned that love-struck people shouldn't visit places like this in the future. Forget it, there's no future, he mused. But he realized this opportunity was rare, and leaving felt like a waste. However, with the two women around, his chances for the night seemed gone. The next day at Sam's place, the items he had ordered arrived. The delivery man asked, "Where should these 20 large fireplaces be placed?" Another questioned the lack of a refrigerated room in the warehouse, expressing concern that the ice might melt. Sam directed the workers to move the fireplaces and ice makers to the innermost part of the warehouse, ensuring they didn't block the entrance, as people began gathering around. Suddenly, Henry approached Olivia, saying, "Sam rented a large warehouse in the suburbs and bought a lot of large machines. They're currently being moved in." Confused, Olivia wondered what Sam was up to. Meanwhile, Nina noticed something and pointed out to Olivia, "Look at this! Isn't this a banquet set up from the Emerald City Hotel? They even laid out a red carpet. Do you think he might suddenly propose to you, and guests will come from all directions?" Feeling a surge of confidence, Olivia replied, "Even if Sam proposes, I might not accept." She urged Nina to accompany her to see Sam's sincerity. When they approached him, Olivia asked, "Why are you buying so many things? What's going on?" Sam responded, "If you help me move things, I'll tell you afterward." Hearing this, Olivia thought, "Don't joke around. I'm going to be a rich lady. How could I possibly do such rough work?" Nina chimed in, "This must be a test to see if you qualify to become a rich lady." After some consideration, Olivia agreed to help Sam. "I'm not that delicate. To become a rich lady, I need to be well-rounded. As long as I can withstand this test, Sam will definitely marry me today." Nina, motivated by the prospect of being part of this wealthy lifestyle, thought, "What kind of second-generation rich person is this? If I show a little effort, even if I can't become a rich lady, I can at least get a taste of the benefits." Sam, pleased with their enthusiasm, made the most of the free labor. With 1,000 tables of food and 2,000 tons of ice, even if the hotel and suppliers sent people, it would still take a while to move everything. After working from morning until evening, they finally finished. Exhausted, Olivia complained, "Sam is really too much. We've been moving things all day without even a meal. If I'm going to be a rich lady, I'll definitely make all his money mine." Nina added, "This jerk actually made us move such heavy things. The ice blocks weighed over 100 pounds each." However, Olivia was puzzled, wondering if the test was over. Shouldn't Sam announce that I'm the bride now? Where are the wealthy guests? Nina agreed, also confused. "The food is getting cold, and the guests don't seem to be arriving. Rich people are really strange." Sam thanked the delivery men for their hard work that day and offered them a small token of appreciation, promising to settle the remaining funds within a week, as per their contract. The delivery men were surprised by the thickness of the red envelope, at least 10,000 yuan, and expressed their gratitude. Approaching Sam, Olivia asked if he had anything else to share. He thanked her for her help but informed her there wouldn't be any pay for her efforts and suggested she leave. "You must be joking," Olivia urged. "You have to have a surprise for me. The guests must be coming. Let's get married and live a good life." Sam replied, "I also wish to live a good life, but I've sold the house and now owe a ton of debt. Are you still willing to be with me?" Nina was taken aback. "Impossible. With over 10 million for this banquet, tens of thousands in restaurant expenses, and everything else, how could you be broke?" Sam explained, "There's a big boss who wanted to do a good deed, so he helped out. They're planning to bring people to the Hillcrest Poverty Alleviation Project." Furious, Olivia accused him. "You jerk! You've been lying to me all along!" Sam dodged her accusation, asking, "What exactly have I lied about?" Olivia, lying on the floor and still angry, retorted, "If you're not a second-generation rich kid at all, you can forget about marrying me." Sam, indifferent to her outburst, replied, "I don't care about a gold digger like you." Olivia, now fuming, stood up and warned Sam, "Just wait, I'll make you regret this." Nina echoed her sentiment, promising to make him regret it too. However, in Sam's eyes, they were nothing but a couple of fools. He knew that in the apocalypse, it would be they who would end up regretting their choices. Sam went inside the warehouse and locked the door from the inside, feeling relieved that all the supplies and resources were finally ready. Now, he just had to wait for the apocalypse to descend. He opened his infinite storage and began placing all the supplies into his dimensional storage. Meanwhile, at the Greentown Wine Hotel, the man who had given Sam a high-interest loan approached Olivia. "You should follow Henry from now on," he told her, promising her a good life in Edenvale. "My words still carry some weight." Henry chimed in, telling Olivia that Sam had treated her poorly and that she should have dumped him long ago in favor of someone like him. Olivia blushed and replied, "I know that. I'm looking forward to your performance." Henry reassured her, saying she didn't have to worry. He would ask his big brother to take care of Sam and get revenge for her. Olivia thought to herself that Henry wasn't bad, especially since his big brother was quite wealthy in Edenvale. Being with him seemed better than being with someone like Sam. Just then, Sam overheard their conversation and remarked, "This woman really isn't picky." Olivia was shocked to see Sam and asked, "What are you doing here?" Henry, recognizing Sam, pointed him out to his big brother, Mr. High, saying, "This guy hit me earlier." Mr. High had been planning to find Sam and was surprised he dared to touch his little brother. Curious, Henry asked Mr. High if he knew Sam. Mr. High explained, "Sam mortgaged his house to me and borrowed 600,000 yuan, with tomorrow being the repayment day." Henry excitedly said, "Let's settle old and new scores together." Olivia told Nina, "He even dared to borrow money from Brother High. I'm afraid he won't be able to clear this debt in his lifetime. Luckily, I didn't get involved with him." Nina agreed, adding that borrowing money like that showed he didn't know his place. Sam, overhearing them, commented, "I can't even enjoy a good meal in peace." Mr. High then approached Sam, stating that he had to repay the money by tomorrow at any cost while Sam was enjoying himself at the hotel. "Do I look like a joke to you? Don't bother. Even if you can arrange 600,000 yuan by tonight, it won't matter," he added. Henry, furious, told his brother, "Sam won't be able to give us a damn thing. Let's finish him." Just then, Manager Lu intervened, asking Mr. High what was going on and suggesting they talk it out. Mr. High agreed, but demanded that Manager Lu make Sam kneel and apologize to him and Henry before they would consider the matter settled. Manager Lu approached Sam and asked, "What's going on here?" Sam responded, "Don't worry, just a few pests barking." Mr. High became furious and told Sam, "I've been giving you money, but this is too much. I will finish this today, and even the heavens won't be able to help you." Suddenly, someone intervened, asking Mr. High, "What are you doing? Who allowed you to cause trouble here?" Both Mr. High and Sam were surprised to see this man, Gary Chase, the manager of the hotel. Mr. High immediately became polite and asked Gary Chase what he was doing there. Gary Chase replied that he had important matters to attend to and warned Mr. High not to cause trouble, or he wouldn't hesitate to show him what happens when someone disrespects him. Mr. High knew that Gary Chase was a well-known entrepreneur in Sandport, but he also had connections in the underworld and many people under his command. Being on his bad side was not something to be taken lightly. Mr. High agreed with Gary Chase, assuring him, "Rest assured, I won't do anything. I'll come to toast you later." Watching this exchange, Sam recalled the previous apocalypse when Gary Chase was a major force in Sandport, and the Hell Chef was under his wing. Suddenly, he remembered hearing that the Emerald City Hotel was the first place to experience atavistic mutations during the apocalypse. Realizing this, Sam thought, "In that case, sorry, but your opportunity is mine now." Gary Chase noticed the interesting glint in Sam's eyes. Afterward, Gary Chase went to meet Mr. Sun and told him he had brought Ms. Dewania as requested. Dewania wondered what Mr. Sun wanted to discuss with her. Mr. Sun explained, "I've heard about Ms. Dewania being a great beauty and am pleased to finally meet her in person. I just wanted to have a drink with her." Mr. Sun offered a drink to Dewania, but she was taken aback, sensing something was off about it. Meanwhile, Sam stood in front of a window, a wine glass in hand, reflecting on his past life. He remembered hiding with Jenna in a basement, barely surviving the extreme heat of the apocalypse. He never expected that, after ditching her, she would end up following him here. Well, it's a good opportunity to settle old scores with her, he thought. On the other side of the hotel, Henry and his big brother were having fun in the swimming pool. Suddenly, Mr. High asked, "Do you feel like it's hotter at night than during the day?" Henry agreed, saying, "Yeah, that's why I suggested coming to the pool to cool down. The girls will come out in swimsuits later." Just thinking about the girls made them excited. Moments later, the girls arrived, surprised by how bright the moon was. "It's almost like the sun," they exclaimed, astonished by its unusual brightness. Henry seized the moment to flirt with Olivia, saying, "My love for you shines as brightly as the moon. This is the witness of our love." However, feeling the heat, Olivia hurriedly asked him to take her to the pool. Sam watched them from inside the hotel, chuckling. "Your love is about to explode," he joked, raising his glass of wine in a toast. "Welcome back to the apocalypse." Suddenly, the moonlight grew intensely hot. Everyone was shocked and started running toward the hotel, confused. "Why does the moonlight suddenly feel so hot?" they wondered. There was no time to go to the pool anymore. They needed to get back to the hotel. Inside, people were equally surprised, questioning the sudden brightness outside. One man asked, "Will Brother Hai and the others be okay?" Another replied, "They're just flirting with the girls. You don't understand the boss's happiness. Just relax." Everyone watched in disbelief as Henry and the others started to show signs of distress, their skin turning red from the heat. Henry and his companions felt intense pain as their bodies began to burn. Spotting a fish tank filled with water, they rushed toward it, finally finding some relief. Meanwhile, Mr. Hai's men were confused, one asking Henry where his brother was. Realizing he didn't know, Henry felt a sense of panic. Just then, they heard a voice calling for help. It was Mr. Hai, his body scorched. His men rushed to him, offering burn cream for relief. Henry pleaded with his brother for forgiveness, promising never to leave him again. On the other side of the hotel, Mr. Sun asked Ms. Duan why she wasn't drinking. Gary Chase suggested they go to the banquet he had prepared. However, Mr. Sun, displeased, declared, "In Edenvale, nobody dares refuse the wine I pour." He dismissed Gary Chase's concerns, insisting it was none of his business. Ms. Duan realized that Gary Chase, in trying to curry favor with Sun Debiao, had set her up. She knew Sun Debiao thought he was invincible in Edenvale, having harmed many women, and today, he had targeted her. Suspecting something was wrong with the drink, she felt she absolutely couldn't drink it. But she wondered what to do. Before she could decide, the moonlight intensified, causing Mr. Sun and Gary Chase excruciating pain. "What's happening?" they asked, and they urged Ms. Duan to quickly close the curtains to block out the heat. Noticing something was off, Gary Chase suggested they go downstairs to investigate. Meanwhile, downstairs, Manager Lu was trying to calm everyone down, explaining that they had contacted the rescue team and asking everyone to please wait for help. However, the crowd was restless, claiming they had millions at stake and couldn't waste time. Gary Chase asked Old Ma what was going on. Old Ma explained that the moon had suddenly brightened, raising the temperature outside to about 70 degrees, with reports of nearly 100 people injured. Seeing the chaos, Mr. Sun called Minister Zhao, explaining he was stuck in the Emerald City Hotel and asking if someone could pick him up. Gary Chase asked about Mr. Dao's situation. Mr. Sun explained that Mr. Zhao was currently working to ensure there wouldn't be any power issues. Unfortunately, no one was available to come over. Meanwhile, Henry's big brother was in severe pain, his body burning from the high temperature, and he desperately needed to get to a hospital. But with it being so hot outside, they were unsure how to get there. Henry's brother assured them not to worry. He would have Xiao Dao drive over to pick them up. He called Xiao Dao, who was still in the underground garage. Xiao Dao, surprised by the unusual brightness and high temperature outside, urged them to wait while he came to get them. But suddenly his car tires blew out. Shocked, he wondered if this was for real. Did the heat blow out all the tires? What kind of crazy weather is this? Xiao Dao called Brother Hai to explain that all 4 tires of his car had blown out, and he couldn't get through now. He needed to go back and told them to figure it out themselves. However, when he stepped out of the tree's shadow, his shoes stuck to the ground, causing him to fall. A man was lying nearby, and Xiao Dao was shocked. As he tried to stand, he felt his skin begin to melt like glue. Hearing Xiao Dao scream, Mr. Hai and the others were alarmed, wondering what had happened. Meanwhile, Sam was peacefully sleeping in his room, unaffected by the rising temperature outside. The government announced that, due to the sudden release of intense heat from the moon, outdoor temperatures had soared to 75 degrees, with ground temperatures reaching a staggering 100 degrees. This event had already resulted in nearly 100 casualties, prompting authorities to urge everyone to stay indoors to avoid skin and respiratory burns. Suddenly, the city's power center collapsed due to the intense heat. Mr. Hai realized that Xiao Dao was no longer responding, and all the other rooms in the hotel were fully booked. With this being the last available room, They had no choice but to share it. However, Olivia was not pleased with this arrangement, questioning how she could possibly share a room with a man. Ariana agreed, insisting they needed a separate room. Just then, the electricity went out, leaving Mr. High bewildered. "What's going on here? Why is there no electricity?" he exclaimed. Without power, the air conditioning stopped, causing the indoor temperature to rise rapidly, likely over 40 degrees. They would suffocate if they stayed here much longer. Suddenly, Olivia remembered that Sam's presidential suite had a pool. She suggested to Mr. High that they take it over from him. Meanwhile, Sam was enjoying himself, playing in his pool. In his past life, he had seen how the city's electricity hid dangers due to improper maintenance. No matter how much manpower was invested, it often exploded, affecting everyone connected to it. That's why he specifically chose a room with a pool, equipped with vertical air conditioners and large backup batteries to maintain a comfortable temperature. He even had some ice prepared. After changing his clothes, Sam settled on the sofa with a glass of wine, savoring life without concern for the outside temperature. However, he soon felt hungry. Using his resources, he prepared a meal, deciding that a simple breakfast was fitting for the first day of the apocalypse. He wondered when Chang's opportunity would arise. Suddenly, his meal was interrupted by a knock on the door. When he opened it, a blast of cool air escaped his room, leaving Mr. High surprised. "How is your room so cool? How is your air conditioning working without electricity?" he asked. Sam looked at them, curious. "Do you need something?" he inquired. Just then, Henry noticed the ice in Sam's room. It not only had a pool, but it also had electricity and food. Seeing this, Nina remarked, "We're about to roast outside, and here you are enjoying luxury." Olivia chimed in, accusing him of selfishness and demanding he vacate the room. Mr. High confronted Sam, stating that since he had borrowed money, it was time to pay it back. He insisted that Sam give up the room, calling it interest for the days past. Otherwise, he threatened to throw him out. When Mr. High tried to enter Sam's room, Sam pulled a gun from his storage and shot Mr. High. Confused and in shock, Mr. High couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Sam warned everyone that if they took one more step, they would be dead. Everyone was astonished, questioning how he had a gun and where it had come from. Mr. High, now furious, scoffed, "All right, you're tough. I give up." However, Sam was undeterred. He shot Mr. High again, this time in the leg. Mr. High cried out in pain. "Get lost," Sam commanded. "Why are you wasting my time? If you don't disappear from my sight, I'll shoot everyone. I'll count to 3. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, Gary Chase asked Manager Lou why their hotel had no food. Manager Lou apologized, explaining that a few days ago, someone had booked 1,000 tables for a banquet, depleting their ingredients. Deliveries were scheduled for today, but Mr. Sun was not concerned. He demanded Manager Lou bring all the food and water to him. Hearing this, other guests started complaining. "You're hoarding the bottled water, and now you want to hoard all the food too. Damn it, this isn't giving us a chance to survive. Just because you have money doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. If you're wealthy, why don't you leave? The water and food should be shared among everyone. Why should it all go to you?" One of Mr. Sun's men asked if anyone had a problem with that, threatening to throw them out right there. But in Mr. Sun's eyes, they were just a bunch of useless people. Henry called for help, exclaiming, "Sam has a gun, and he's killing people." Gary Chase, upon hearing this, realized, "Isn't that a gunshot wound? There aren't many people who can get their hands on a gun. It seems like there's a tough character living upstairs." Henry turned to his big brother, asking if he was okay. Meanwhile, Xiao Chang explained to everyone that Sam's room had electricity, air conditioning, and even a swimming pool. The others were skeptical and asked Xiao Chang if she was telling the truth. She confirmed she had seen it with her own eyes. There were ice cubes, plenty of food, fried chicken, and alcohol. It was like heaven in there. Hearing this, everyone began heading towards Sam's room, complaining, "We're sweating like we're in a sauna here while he's enjoying himself. Why does he get to have ice cubes and air conditioning while we suffer?" Xiao Chang urged them, "Let's go up there and make that kid share the ice cubes and air conditioning." Gary Chase instructed his men to go up and figure it out, saying, "You don't need me to teach you, right?" They assured him they knew what to do. Moments later, everyone was standing in front of Sam's room, requesting a discussion. However, they were surprised when they felt cool air coming out. They explained it was an emergency situation, stating that only his room had air conditioning. They asked if he could let them in to cool off for a bit, arguing that young people should respect their elders and care for the young. Suddenly, one of the kids spotted Sam's fried chicken and darted toward it, declaring he wanted to eat. But before he could enter, Sam kicked him hard, sending him flying across the hallway. The others gasped in shock. "Control your kids," Sam shouted. "Otherwise, I don't mind managing them." Anger boiled over among the group, with one of them yelling, "He's just a kid. How could he think of hitting him? He's a murderer. Someone like him doesn't deserve to stay in this room." They charged towards Sam, determined to kick him out, confident in their numbers. But Sam, now furious, retrieved his gun from storage and shot one of Gary Chase's men. The room fell silent, and everyone was paralyzed with fear. "I may be alone," Sam warned, "but you only have one life." Meanwhile, Henry was crying, asking everyone why they had left his big brother outside. They tried to calm him, explaining that Brother Hai had already succumbed. His wound was infected and rotting. With the high temperature and no medicine, he couldn't hold on. Hearing this, Henry became enraged, blaming everything on Sam, vowing to seek revenge. On the other side, Eli Crane and Jenna tried to seduce Sam, saying, "Brother Sam, I know you couldn't bear to shoot us. You were just scaring Wang Dehai." Eli Crane added, "Have you forgotten how much I love you? Please let us in, and we promise to do anything you want, just to cool off for a bit and maybe spend the night." After hearing this, Sam smiled, saying, "Sisterly love sure runs deep," and invited them in. They were thrilled, believing that Sam, being a good person, wouldn't abandon them. Suddenly, Henry approached Sam, demanding Eli Crane get out of the way because he intended to kill him. But Sam warned, "Whoever walks through this door will die." He grabbed a baseball bat from his storage and swung it at Henry, who fell on top of both women. After witnessing this horrific scene, both women declared they wouldn't go inside. Outside was just fine. "Get lost," Sam shouted, warning that not leaving might get them killed. Meanwhile, everyone saw a rescue team's vehicle arrive. The tires had been modified into treads, and the windows were insulated. It had to be the rescue team. Excitement buzzed among the crowd as they thought they were finally saved. A soldier stepped out of the vehicle, instructing everyone to step back and make way. He asked if Academician Lu Jingge was present. One of the men stepped forward and identified himself as Academician Lu. The soldier informed him that they were the rescue team and instructed him to hurry and put on insulated suits to leave with them. Everyone was puzzled, asking, "Why are you only rescuing Academician Lu? Aren't you here to rescue all of us?" The soldier urged everyone to calm down, explaining that the authorities had already launched a rescue operation. He reassured them that tonight, being the coldest time of the day, they could make their way to Silicon Valley Plaza, the nearest rescue point, on their own. Relief washed over the crowd as they heard this, with many exclaiming, "Really? There's a rescue operation by the authorities tomorrow morning? That's great! The authorities haven't completely abandoned us yet." Suddenly, Mr. Sun rushed toward the soldier, announcing, "I'm Sun Debiao from the Sun Group. I'll offer you 1 billion if you give me those insulated suits and let me leave now." The soldier, however, remained unmoved. "Academician Lu Jingwei is our geological expert, playing a crucial role in this disaster. Please don't obstruct our operation." Fuming, Mr. Sun turned to Gary Chase. "You useless guy! What have I kept you for? Go! Snatch the insulated suits for me." But Gary Chase hesitated. The soldiers had guns, and any rash action could get him killed. Xiao Xian stepped forward, pleading with the soldiers for help. "There's a murderer living upstairs." The others quickly chimed in, confirming her claims. "He has a gun and has killed several people. We can't let that murderer go free." One of the soldiers said he would stay behind to handle the situation. However, another soldier warned, "Alex Foster, this is a special situation. Don't act impulsively." But Alex Foster was insistent. "I have discretion," he replied, asking the other soldiers to take the insulated suits with them first while he dealt with the situation. With that, he armed himself and headed upstairs to confront Sam. Meanwhile, Olivia felt a rush of excitement, thinking that after Sam was shot dead, she could claim his room and wait for rescue. When Alex Foster reached Sam's room, he noticed a camera hidden inside a potted plant. Just then, Sam opened the door and threw a flash grenade at Alex Foster. Caught off guard, Alex Foster's eyes burned as he struggled to regain his senses. Before he could escape, Sam released tear gas, forcing him to retreat. But as he turned to flee, Sam attacked him from behind, rendering him unconscious. When Alex Foster regained consciousness, he found himself in Sam's room, which felt pleasantly cool. Sam inspected his ID and noted that his name was Lou Alex Foster, the deputy captain of the Special Forces. "Now that you're awake, let's talk," Sam said. Alex Foster was shocked by the air conditioning and ice cubes in Sam's room, wondering who he really was and how he had gotten the gun and flash grenades. "I'm just a recent graduate," Sam explained casually. "I picked up everything during a trip to the Middle East." Alex Foster couldn't believe it. "Are you kidding me?" Unfazed, Sam shrugged. "If you don't believe me, that's on you." He was curious, asking Alex Foster if the government had set up rescue zones for citizens to go to tomorrow morning. Alex Foster was taken aback. "How do you know about that?" Sam recognized the familiarity in Alex Foster's experience. It was just like his previous life. Although the temperature had dropped significantly by early morning, exposure to moonlight for more than 10 minutes could still cause fainting, leading to many casualties on the way to the rescue points. Alex Foster explained that while they had established safe zones, modifying rescue vehicles was challenging. Many people couldn't hold on much longer, leaving them no choice but to let residents make their way to the rescue points on their own. Thick blankets and heavy coats can help insulate against the cold. As long as they don't collapse, it should increase survival rates. Sam asked if Alex Foster was telling the truth, to which he replied, "Of course." However, still skeptical, Sam pointed his gun at him. "Wait a moment," Alex Foster urged. "Can I tell others about using thick blankets before you kill me? I'll just use the walkie-talkie without calling for backup." Sam lowered his gun. "I respect what you're trying to do, so I won't kill you this time. But no further provocations." Alex Foster then asked Sam if he wasn't worried that he would call for backup once he left. Sam smiled, gesturing for him to look up. Alex Foster was shocked to see a surveillance turret equipped with facial recognition cameras and machine guns. "Where did you get something like this?" he asked. "I told you before," Sam replied. "I got it from the Middle East. Once it activates, no one in this room except me will survive. But right now, you probably don't have time to deal with me." Understanding the situation, Alex Foster left the room. Everyone was astonished that the soldier had just walked away without addressing the chaos upstairs. He had only mentioned the blankets and hadn't said anything about what happened with Sam. Mr. Sun was visibly frustrated and furious. He slapped Gary Chase. "What the hell do I keep you for? Why didn't you act just now? You're all a bunch of useless idiots. Get lost," one of Gary Chase's men muttered. "How long do we have to tolerate him?" Gary Chase replied. "The authorities have started the rescue operation. Once order is restored, we'll still need to leverage our connections." Suddenly, Sam commented on Gary Chase's ambitions. "In times of chaos, you still dream of restoring order?" This provoked anger among Gary Chase's men, with one threatening, "Who do you think you are? I'll kill you!" Gary Chase raised a hand to calm his men, then turned to Sam. "Why are you here?" "I'm here to make a deal with Boss Gao," Sam replied, revealing a stash of ice cubes. Seeing the ice, Gary Chase's underling went wild. "Big brother, there must be even better stuff in Sam's room. Let's deal with him and take everything." It was clear that thugs were still thugs, but Sam was the biggest one among them. He aimed the gun he had taken from Alex Foster at Gary Chase's man, sending him into a panic. Even Gary Chase, sharing the same thought as his underling, flinched at the sight of the gun. "Sam, my friend, let's not make this harder than it needs to be. Let's talk about the deal," Gary Chase suggested, a nervous edge in his voice. Eventually, Gary Chase and his man indulged in the ice cubes Sam provided. While enjoying the cool treat, the curly-haired thug said, "I've been stuck here for 3 days. This is the first time I felt good. I can't even imagine what else is in Sam's room." Gary Chase agreed to Sam's demands for now but planned to find a way to kill him later, ensuring the room and its goodies would be his. Just then, Mr. Sun kicked Gary Chase, shouting, "How dare you hide ice cubes?" He continued to kick him, warning that if he didn't bring out the good stuff voluntarily next time, he'd be dead. The humiliation fueled Gary Chase's anger, but Mr. Sun didn't care. "These ice cubes are amazing. We've run out of instant noodles. Without rescue, we're bound to starve." While speaking, Mr. Sun noticed Duanya sitting quietly in the corner. "Despite the heat, you refuse to take off your clothes. Quite modest of you," he taunted. Grabbing her hand forcefully, he added, "Since I'm in the mood, why don't you come with me?" Furious, Duanya punched Mr. Sunday. "Don't touch me." This only angered Mr. Sun more. "I'll have my way with you right here, and everyone can have a taste later." Duanya covered herself, and Mr. Sun laughed mockingly. "You're soaked. Aren't you hot already? Gary Chase stepped in, his voice firm. Mr. Sun de Biao, that's enough. Infuriated, Mr. Sun turned around, shouting, Shut your mouth, Gary Chase. Do you even know who you're talking to? In a swift motion, Gary Chase stabbed Mr. Sun in the neck. Chaos erupted as people screamed, realizing someone had been killed. Sam is right, Gary Chase declared. It's already chaos, so Mr. Sun might as well die with it. He proclaimed to everyone that the place was now under his command. You either head to the rescue point or die here. Duanya, terrified, watched the events unfold while Sam, observing from upstairs, realized his words had taken effect. Since Duanya was the boss here in my past life, if I accelerate this process, will her opportunity come earlier? Meanwhile, Eli Crane and Anina begged Gary Chase for ice cubes. Give it to me, strong brother. I want it. Eli Crane cried, while Anina chimed in, promising to do anything for him. Gary Chase took a sip of the ice water and tossed the rest at them. If you want ice water, follow me. I'll have you do whatever I want. Grabbing the ice water, the two began to fight over it like children. The curly-haired man asked Gary Chase, Aren't we going to the rescue point? Gary Chase replied, Now it's doomsday. To survive, we must rely on ourselves. The rescue point is 1 kilometer away, and we might not even make it there alive. The curly-haired man then questioned why they were keeping Eli Crane and Anina around when supplies were low. Isn't that unfair? He asked, referring to their presence as freeloaders. Gary Chase shrugged. It's Sam who wanted to keep these few around, and it just happens that we need some extra bodies too. As midnight approached, Eli Crane and Anina bundled themselves in a thick blanket, ready to leave the hotel. We've only had a few snacks these last 2 days. When we get to the rescue point, I'm going to eat and drink cola, Anina exclaimed. But before they could exit, Gary Chase's underling snatched Eli Crane's blanket. What are you doing? She shouted angrily. The curly-haired man smirked. Big brother gave you all the ice water, and now you want to leave? Isn't that unfair? Besides, didn't you say you'd do anything? Just hang out with me for a while. Meanwhile, those who had left the hotel to reach the rescue center were desperately thirsty. They were furious that Gary Chase had taken control of the supplies, leaving them without food or water. Staying in the hotel felt like torture, but heading to the rescue point offered a slim chance of survival. As they continued walking, the heat outside was even more oppressive than they had imagined. Despite the boards strapped to their shoes, while walking, an elderly woman slips and falls. Her skin begins to melt like wax, and she screams for help. No one stops. Everyone continues on their way. In times of uncertainty regarding survival, who has the time to care for others, even family or loved ones? In an apocalypse, the priority is survival. Meanwhile, the lifeless bodies of Mr. Sun and Wang Dihai lie outside, illuminated by the moonlight. When they suddenly wake up, Sam watches people moving toward the rescue points and recalls his previous life, where he also went to the rescue point. Back then, no one had reminded him to bring a blanket. Although it was just a short kilometer, he wondered how many lives had been lost along the way. At that moment, Sam was screaming as Gary Chase's underling tried to assault her. Big brother, why don't we go to the room and have some fun instead of staying here? Sam suggested. Anina added, Yeah, we'll go with you. The curly-haired guy laughed, asking if they were getting shy. What's there to fear here? Suddenly, Mr. Sun and Wang Dihai, now zombies, broke through the door. Shocked, everyone began to flee. Henry, frightened, asked if they would turn into zombies if bitten. Gary Chase seized him by the neck and retorted, Why don't you find out? He thrust Henry in front of the approaching zombie. Mr. Sunday, Henry screamed. The curly-haired boy asked Gary Chase if he was okay. Gary Chase replied that Mr. Sun's body temperature was extremely high. At that moment, the protagonist appeared, telling everyone to move aside. He wielded a sword against the fire zombies. The curly-haired underling was surprised, asking if Sam planned to deal with those creatures. Gary Chase felt happy at the prospect, thinking they could let Sam kill them and then turn on him. Sam was aware that corpses exposed to sunlight would mutate, but these weren't typical zombies and wouldn't spread the virus. They resembled drought demons described in the Classic of Mountains and Seas, a Chinese mythology text. Sam referred to them as drought demons as they approached him. He recognized that these drought demons retained memories or attachments from their former lives. He speculated whether Gary Chase had killed Mr. Sun in his previous life, leading Mr. Sun to seek revenge against Gary Chase and become the first drought demon. Wang Dihai transformed into another drought demon after killing him. Wang Dihai attempted to attack Sam, who dodged. Ignoring Wang Dihai, Sam ran toward Mr. Sun to seize the opportunity against Gary Chase. He unleashed his full power and killed Mr. Sunday. A purple stone emerged from Mr. Sun's body, the crystal nucleus that could enhance physical abilities. Sam claimed the stone, saying, "Now it belongs to me." Suddenly, Wang Dihai lunged at Sam from behind. Sam leaped to dodge the attack but took advantage of the moment to send Wang Dihai toward Gary Chase and his men. Afterward, he moved toward his room, telling them, "You guys have fun." Gary Chase, furious, grabbed Henry by the neck, shouting, "You useless trash! Get up!" He then hurled Henry toward Wang Dihai to help him escape, instructing his men to grab weapons and kill Sam. In his room, Sam prepared to consume the purple stone he had taken from Mr. Sunday. He placed the stone in a glass and poured wine over it. In the apocalypse, crystal nuclei like this occasionally appeared in the skulls of drought demons and mutant beasts. Such nuclei were extremely rare, possibly found in only 1 out of 100. To consume the crystal, it needed thorough cleaning before being swallowed directly, allowing the body to absorb its energy. After cleaning it, he swallowed the crystal. Almost immediately, his eyes glowed red, his body ignited in flames, and his clothes were shredded. To control his rising body temperature, he retrieved an ice block from his storage and laid on it. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, Gary Chase managed to kill Wang Dihai. However, this caused their last water source, a water bottle, to break. Seizing the opportunity, Inina attempted to escape. Gary Chase's men caught her, threatening, "You damn woman, trying to run! If you move, I'll chop off your legs." Inina argued that without water, they would all perish from thirst. She offered to share a strategy to deal with Sam if they let her go to the rescue point. One of Gary Chase's men demanded she speak quickly, warning her that any trickery would lead to her death. Inina explained that Zhang Sam was Sam's fiancé. "If we attack her at Sam's doorstep, he'll definitely open the door, and we can ambush him." Gary Chase's man laughed at this revelation. "I can't believe this is a real plan. It's actually a good idea." However, Olivia was shocked to see her best friend willing to do this. Regardless, Inina stated she could cooperate but insisted on food first, saying she was hungry and wanted to eat meat. Gary Chase's man expressed surprise upon hearing her request for meat. "Want meat? The meat in the electric fridge is already spoiled, and you still want it?" Gary Chase then turned to Olivia, asking if she truly wanted to eat meat. He handed her a knife, saying, "That's up to you." Olivia, taken aback, asked what he meant, but she didn't dwell on it. She took the knife from Gary Chase and approached Inina. Inina, alarmed, questioned her intentions. "What are you planning? Don't come near me, Olivia. We're sisters. You can't do this." Olivia dismissed her concerns. "Don't fool yourself. Are we really sisters? Just now, you suggested using me as bait. Don't blame me. If you want someone to blame yourself." She then stabbed Inina multiple times, killing her. Gary Chase and his men were shocked by the scene. Afterward, Olivia began to laugh, saying, "Olivia, once I'm full, I'll come back and drink your blood." Gary Chase ordered his men to have Duanya cook the meat, stressing the need to eat well to gather strength against Olivia. Without water, they wouldn't last a day. He warned them that if they didn't want to become dried corpses, they'd better follow his orders. Hearing this, a long-haired man told another to find out where Duanya was and bring her. Meanwhile, in Sam's room, he successfully consumed the purple crystal. This gave him a physique-type ability, improving his heat resistance and increasing his muscles and strength. Suddenly, he heard a knock on the door. Looking through the CCTV camera, he was surprised to see Miss Duanya. She had come to seek help from Sam because things were going crazy downstairs. Like Gary Chase, it was no longer safe down there for her. She still had some leverage. Sam opened the door and asked if everything was okay. However, he felt embarrassed when Duanya saw him without clothes and called him a scoundrel. Sam apologized, explaining it was an accident. Duanya asked if she could stay with him since it was dangerous downstairs and she no longer felt safe. Sam replied that his resources were limited and they had just met. He couldn't simply take her in because she was pretty. Based on his previous life experiences, he knew Duanya was strong-willed and had a cooperative relationship with Gary Chase. Although he considered subduing her, the atmosphere felt awkward now. Duanya mentioned that she wasn't just a chef but also a well-qualified graduate from Southwest Medical University, with 3 years of surgical experience. She was astonished to see how well-equipped Sam's room was. "It's not the room, it's the ice and electricity," she thought, realizing she might need to prove her worth to stay there. Sam responded that her qualifications were indeed appealing, but resources were scarce, and survival until tomorrow was uncertain. Dwanya was surprised and insisted that as long as he didn't kick her out, she would do anything. Hearing this, Sam smiled and said, "Since Miss Dwanya has spoken, consider this place your own home." Dwanya realized she had spoken too quickly, but it was already too late. Sam warned her that her only choice was to behave. "Don't have any ulterior motives, or I'll kick you out." Dwanya acknowledged this, stating she never doubted his methods and determination. Then, Sam requested that Miss Dwanya take off her clothes. Dwanya was shocked and embarrassed, asking if this was the right time to start. Moments later, Dwanya began taking a shower. She was amazed by the water, electricity, food, and the ability to shower without concern for the scorching heat or the danger of being attacked. For her, this place felt like heaven. She knew that Sam wasn't exactly a saint either. Earlier, before she started showering, he had mentioned giving her something different to eat. She understood what he meant but decided to let it go, thinking, "Anyway, I considered this before coming up." Meanwhile, Sam observed Miss Dwanya showering. He wasn't peeking. He just wanted to ensure she wouldn't do anything improper. After Dwanya finished her shower, she told Sam that the outfit he gave her was too small and uncomfortable. Sam assured her, saying, "It's not small. You look gorgeous in that outfit." Dwanya asked if he was being truthful. Suddenly, someone knocked on Sam's door, calling out, "Sam, open the door! Come out and save us!" It was Olivia and Gary Chase, trying to lure Sam out of his room. Gary Chase warned Sam that if he didn't come out soon, he would break down the door. As Sam approached the door to open it, Ms. Dwanya stopped him, warning that they couldn't open it. "Those people have already eaten Nina. If we open the door, we'll end up like her." Sam was taken aback, confirming with Dwanya, "You mean they actually eat people?" Ignoring her warning, he opened the door and said, "Don't be so hasty to break it down. It'll be a hassle if it gets damaged." Olivia pleaded with Sam, "Help me. Gary Chase is after me." Gary Chase and his men were thrilled to see Sam finally come out. One of them had been hiding behind Sam's door to launch a surprise attack. When Sam opened the door, they attacked him, intending to kill him that day. However, Sam caught the attacker's hand and used his own knife against him, killing him. Gary Chase and the others were shocked. Meanwhile, Olivia managed to break free from Gary Chase and sprinted towards Sam for help. But Sam grabbed her by the neck, saying, "Once you've eaten human flesh, your body mutates, and fangs will grow in your mouth. You're no longer human." Gary Chase chimed in, "It's the end of the world anyway. What does it matter if we eat people as long as we survive?" Olivia laughed. "The meat is so delicious. After eating, I feel so strong. Sam, I can't wait to taste you." With that, she lunged at Sam, but he kicked her hard, sending her flying across the room. Olivia crashed through a window but managed to grab the ledge to avoid falling. Furious, she shouted, "Sam, you won't get away with this!" However, the outside temperature was a scorching 86 degrees Celsius, and her body began to burn. She cried out for help. Inside, Gary Chase commanded his men to attack Sam all at once, not giving him a chance to draw his gun. They charged at him, but Sam remained unfazed. "I don't need to waste bullets on you guys," Gary Chase warned. "Young man, don't underestimate me." Sam retorted that he enjoyed wasting bullets and shot one of Gary Chase's men. In response, Gary Chase ordered his men to spread out and attack Sam from all angles. Sam fired again, but they dodged. One of Gary Chase's men laughed, boasting, "We're not just stronger now. Our reflexes and speed have improved. In a situation like this, you can't even hit us." He attempted a surprise attack on Sam, but Sam had already anticipated it. He leaped into the air, seized the man's head, and smashed it into the ground. The others took advantage of the moment to charge at Sam with knives. However, Sam swiftly grabbed their hands, disarmed them, and killed them with their own weapons. Frustrated and enraged, Gary Chase lunged at Sam, but Sam caught him and slammed him into the wall. Suddenly, he spotted something at the window. It was Olivia, who had mutated into a drought demon and jumped inside. Sam was taken aback by her rapid transformation, realizing her connection to the mutation was quite profound. He snapped Gary Chase's neck and said to Sam, "Since you won't disappear, I'll just have to kill you again." Olivia roared and charged at Sam. Miss Dwanya was amazed by Sam's prowess. He had single-handedly taken down Gary Chase's gang, but she felt an intense danger emanating from the transformed Olivia. She knew she had to find a way to help him. She couldn't be a burden. Suddenly, she called out to Sam. "Let me help you defeat that monster!" Sam was surprised. "Not hiding in fear is good, but you'll just distract me like this." Miss Dwanya blushed, unsure of how to respond. Meanwhile, Olivia charged at Sam, landing a powerful blow. Miss Dwanya was shocked, wondering if Sam would be alright. However, Sam activated his superpower, Berserker mode, just in time to counter her attack. Olivia was startled to see her attack fail, so without hesitation, she positioned herself behind Sam for another strike, opening her mouth to attack him with her sharp fangs. But she was dismayed when her fangs couldn't pierce Sam's skin. "Can't bite? Are those fangs just for show?" Sam taunted. "Now it's my turn." He grabbed Olivia's hands, jumped back, then placed his leg on her waist, asking, "Are you ready?" Without warning, he broke her hands and slammed her to the ground. Olivia cried out in pain. Sam remarked that he had intended to let her suffer slowly during the apocalypse, tortured to death. But now he had to kill her earlier. Suddenly, he noticed Olivia grabbing one of Gary Chase's men's bodies and starting to eat it. Olivia, after consuming the human body, she regenerated her broken hands. Sam was astounded, wondering how she could regenerate severed limbs. Miss Dwanya was equally shocked, asking how that was possible. Sam laughed, saying, "This is great." Miss Dwanya was confused, asking what he meant. Sam explained, "If she can regenerate, it means she's not so easy to kill after all. It also means I can tear her apart repeatedly." He dashed toward Olivia, grabbed her hand, and said, "Let's see how many times your body can regenerate." Starting with the left hand, he broke her left hand, and she screamed in agony. Next, he seized her right hand and broke it, eliciting even louder screams. He then targeted her tail and legs, breaking them one by one. After watching her suffer, he smiled, saying, "That was just the first round." Olivia began to regenerate all her broken limbs. Sam grinned and asked, "Are you ready? The second round is about to begin." He lunged at her again, not intending to stop. He starts the third round, fourth, fifth, eighth round. Not just limbs, even eyes, tongue can regenerate. 16th round, internal organs can regenerate too. It seems like except for the head, everything else can regenerate. But why couldn't it regenerate after 21 times? He was planning to gouge out the eyes, but let it be. After all, he is not a devil. Olivia starts crying, asking Sam why he is doing this to her. What's the reason for doing this to her? Sam replies, saying, "You ask why for revenge." In his previous life, he helped Olivia do everything he could to save her in the apocalypse world, even giving her his share of food so she could survive. But what did he get in exchange? Betrayal. She killed him and slept with another man in front of his dead body. After that, he crushed her head and killed her. Dwanya asks Sam if he is okay. Sam turns his head toward Dwanya and asks her if she is ready. Dwanya is confused and asks what he means. He comes close to Dwanya, grabs her from behind and says, "I was so heroic just now, shouldn't you be ready to reward me?" Dwanya starts blushing, saying, "In this place?" Sometime later, at the rescue point, the security captain stepped outside, noting that the temperature seemed to be stabilizing. She asked, "Could it be that the apocalypse is ending?" Suddenly, Soldier Alex Foster called her over, pointing in a specific direction and said, "There are a lot of people approaching the rescue point over there." Alex Foster's captain, a silver-haired woman, looked closely and saw that those approaching weren't people, but a horde of zombies. Upon seeing them, the zombies ran toward Alex Foster and the captain to attack. The captain ordered Alex Foster to quickly evacuate the civilians from the rescue point while she held the zombies off. Chris Flint didn't want to leave her to face so many zombies alone, but she insisted it was an order. Left with no choice, Chris Flint ran inside, telling her not to die. She began shooting at the zombies and shouted for Chris Flint to shut up and evacuate. Meanwhile, in the hotel where said, "Next, I'll let you experience the power of the Berserker." Shocked, Dwanya asked how many times this would be. Sam laughed and told her that the extreme heat wave had ended, so he needed to go out for a while. However, he would leave her with unforgettable memories. Dwanya tried to escape, asking if she could accompany him, but Sam wouldn't let her go. He told her that people around him must meet two conditions. First, they must be valuable, and second, they must absolutely obey his orders. Dwanya moaned that she understood, and Sam spent the entire day convincing her. now assured that she had completely submitted to him. Sam went to the hotel's lobby at night and took out his car, saying, "I must hurry back before the seawater surges in." Sam remembered that in his previous life, many zombies, driven by the obsession to reach the rescue point, eventually formed a tidal wave that attacked it. Many civilians and soldiers died in the attack, which also led to the scattering of a large number of military weapons that allowed various factions to form. These factions obtained the soldiers' weapons and started killing each other for resources. One of them tried to stop Sam as he got into his car, pointing a gun at him and demanding he stop. Unfazed, Sam asked, "Are you crazy? How dare you order me to stop my car and even rob me at this time?" Instead of stopping, he sped up, knowing that these thugs had messed with the wrong person. Sam ran over them with his car and moved forward, stopping before a huge hole in the road. Looking at it, Sam remembered that the walls had cracked due to the scorching sun in his previous life, and combined with the onslaught of the zombie wave, it eventually led to the subway station's collapse. He looked inside and saw that thousands had died underground, and the zombies below were attracted by the roar of the cars. Unfortunately, not all zombies had crystals in their heads. Sam decided not to venture down there. He chose to check the situation at the college first. Reflecting on it, he realized this was his first time back at the engineering university since graduation. After arriving at his destination, he put his car back in his inventory. But when he entered, the first thing he saw was zombies. The zombies in the college were tied up with chains, and some men were using them as weapons. When Sam tried to enter the college, these men stopped him, saying, "Kid, you're entering our territory, so you better hand over your backpack." In response, Sam took out a fried chicken leg and said, "Hey guys, could you help me out and let me pass? I've got some braised chicken legs here." When the men heard that Sam had chicken legs at a time like this, they became excited and demanded he hurry up and throw them over. Seeing them behave this way, Sam smiled and threw the chicken leg on the ground before them. All the men began fighting each other for it, but Sam had tied a string to it and pulled the chicken leg back. He said, "Sorry, but you're not worthy of eating these chicken legs." This angered the men, who drew their knives to attack Sarah, but he took out his gun and aimed at them, killing all three with headshots before heading to the stairs, saying, "I don't remember this many idiots in my previous life. Could my warnings have helped more people survive?" Leading to this, while pondering this, he entered the Department of Reptiles and Snakes laboratory. The room was locked, and seeing that, Sam confirmed that no one had entered the lab for a while. He grabbed the lock and broke it with his bare hands. Inside, he found many dead snakes, and the air was thick with decay. While walking around, he finally found what he was searching for, the leader of the snake army in his past life, King Jean Sure. At that moment, it was just a black snake eating other snakes, which explained how it had survived. In his last life, this snake was the first to start mutating and devoured many people. Even Sam had nearly died in its jaws. He knew that when the flood arrived, in a week, it would start mutating, and if it couldn't be defeated by then, it would cause serious trouble. Observing how the snake was staring at him, Sam felt it had gained some intelligence and realized he needed to be cautious. But suddenly, Sam heard footsteps and realized someone was on the other side of the wall. 3 men are standing on the other side of the door, telling Sam that they know he is hiding there. They ask Sam to come out. Angrily, Sam replies, "It's a critical time now. I can't afford to be disturbed by you guys." He warns them to leave if they don't want to die. Suddenly, he notices a silver-haired girl appear out of nowhere and start attacking them. Everyone is surprised to see that she has been hiding here. Before they can react, she leaps into the air, grabs 2 men with her legs and hands, and kills them. Without wasting any time, she runs toward the man with a gun, grabs his neck, and kills him. Sam points his gun at the silver-haired girl, surprised by her moves. But she reacts swiftly, snatches Sam's gun, and wraps her legs around him. Well guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, comment part 2 in the comments section. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon and like the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.